What's up guys, and welcome back to the Ultimate Guide to Dark Souls 3. This is part 8 and we're going to be going through Smouldering Lake and Demon Ruins.
Yeah, so realistically this is like the earliest point when you can do this, and you definitely want to go to Smouldering Lake at this point. Now, just quickly before we go on, you want to get Caressing Tears and...
Caressing Prayer.
Caressing Prayer.
And you want to buy the talisman from the Handmaiden. This is optional, we do recommend it though, because there are enemies in this area that can toxic you, and there are only like 3 blooming purple moss available in the game that you can buy from the Handmaiden. Or you can buy Caressing Prayer, which you can use like 6 times per mana bar, and it removes all status effects, so Caressing Prayer is definitely our go-to. You already have the stats for it because you put the 12 in for a Stora's sword, so why not? And the knight has 1 achievement slot by default, so we drop our flame weapon in exchange for Caressing Prayer, which is actually the better thing to do because Smouldering Lake is full of enemies that are like fire based, so flame weapon's essentially useless.
In the immortal words of Todd Howard, it just works.
Yep. It's like ShamWow.
Yeah,
we don't know how it's so absorbent, it just is.
Even they don't know.
I know. I feel like they might have just like opened up like an asteroid and they just found this material inside and they found a way to mass produce it and they made ShamWow out of it. The sponge from space. Why aren't they selling it as that? That sounds way... I'd buy it.
Just to have it.
That sounds way better than it can absorb 5 times as much water as a sponge. I don't give a fuck about that.
Right, anyway, right, so you want to hit this bridge and knock it down, and that means you can actually get down into it.
You guys already know about the bridge, the game's been out long enough.
Now,
we're going to make the Mimic fight the demon, and this was actually a rather hilarious encounter for us because the Mimic straight up kicks the shit out of it, literally.
Now,
I just put my dragon shield on, that's what I was doing in the menu because I realised that I don't have my anti-fire shield.
The reason why we want to do Smouldering Lake now is obviously you have the souls you'll get from it, but it also gives you a fuck ton of large Titanite shard, and there's a Titanite chunk in here as well, so it means that we can get our sword to +7 before Erithal, which is just fucking nuts, like, Jesus Christ.
Because in case you didn't know, you can drop a black firebomb, or I think it's a black rope firebomb counts as well, to get a Titanite chunk from Picklepea and Pumperum, giving you 2, which lets you get the chance to make a +7 weapon, and that's what we're going to do before the bosses get us a +7 Astoras.
So you definitely want to have the Mimic fight this thing, because...
Yeah, just watch it kick the shit out, so I'm just like a bystander, and this Mimic is punting it in the boss.
Bang!
I know, like,
bang!
Just kicking its teeth off. Oh, it's so good. I love watching those two go at it. But that Mimic was like, he practiced, he was ready for that fight.
Prepared.
Alright.
So, at this point, like, the Mimic shouldn't have a lot of health, so you should be able to make light work of it. Now, there's a bunch of skeletons down here, which we're just not going to bother with, because why bother?
I know. We're going to use a nice little exploit known as the quick reload trick, so if you guys haven't got that one down yet, then we encourage that you do. That was the drop from the Mimic, by the way, the Black Blade. Now,
we should mention just quickly that, yes, you can throw undead hunter's charms at Mimics, and it'll put them back to sleep, and you can, like, put a Mimic to sleep, hit it, wake it up, put it to sleep, and keep doing that, and you can use that to get the Symbol of Avarice. Well, or the Mimic helmet, anyway. You can keep, that's something that you can do.
Well, if it might be the case, it was that was what it was in Dark Souls 1.
No, people confirmed it in the chat.
Oh, nice.
So, right, we're just going to quit the game, and then it'll
I mean, you guys can run further ahead and lose aggro that way, or you can just do the quick reload trick. It's relatively simple. It's something that you guys should probably try and get used to, because like the bridge leading up to the Twin Princes is absolute hell, so we're definitely going to quick reload that, because I'd rather not fight 100 fucking Lothric Knights.
Nah, no, fuck that, like, why bother when you don't have to?
So, there's a massive ballista just on the other side of this tree, and it fires 3 shots at a time, so we're going to use that because there's 2 destructible areas, basically, in this. There's a wall that we want to blow out to get access to a ring, and there's a floor that you can blow out which gives you a rather useless shortcut, basically.
Yeah, like I suppose it's useful, kind of ish.
Unless you skip out the rats and the grooves at the beginning, but that's really it.
Yeah, and in addition to that, like, we're not going to use a shortcut because we want to explain the layout of the area anyway.
Yeah. So we're going to run dead ahead.
Right, and we're also not going to pick up any of the items that are floating about in this lake currently because
the ballista.
Yeah, and you'll see in a second the big fucking worm thing that comes out of the ground. So it's just not a good time right now. So we're going to deal with the ballista, and then we'll come back, and then we'll deal with the items.
Yeah. So, that wall right there, I was having trouble spotting it, but yeah, that's the big ugly motherfucking worm. But that wall dead ahead, we're going to go break that down. So basically hide behind the tree, and then you're just going to take a hit. Wait for the ballista to fire. And that should do it, that should break it. Yep, there you go. Wall's broken, and that will give us the magic stone plate ring, right? Or the speckled stone plate ring, actually, which we are going to use against the boss because it gives you resistances across the board and more fire defense is good. While that massive fucking javelin curves like something I wanted.
I know. I mean, frankly, I've actually no idea what the trick is for avoiding the shots out of this. So just, they don't do enough damage for it really be a problem.
My method is just try and be in front of where it lands so that it propels you further in the direction you want to go. That's my method. So yeah, you open up that big hole, that will drop you down above
near one of the bonfires are in the demon ruins. Now we will show you where it will drop you, don't worry.
It drops you near one of the pyromancy tomes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now you can just drop down there if you want to just get the items or whatever, but really we still want to show you the main layouts.
And for those of you guys who are wondering why we're going to do demon ruins in general, even though it's an optional area, one, it's the guide so we have to show you, but two, a really good reason to come down here is that you get one Estus shard and you get 2 undead bone shards for coming down here as well.
Oh yeah, that's
it's
a thing.
Definitely worth it. So now what we're going to do, now that we've broken that and shown you those shortcuts, we're going to go back and we're going to go take care of the big worm thing.
Now, the game pretty much takes care of the worm thing for you, and you probably already know this technique, it's pretty obvious.
It's been around since like day one of the game's release.
The dawn of time.
Yeah, like the first thing people tried when they had to fight this worm was this.
To be fair, we done it as well, so it's just logic.
Yeah.
So you want to take the left hand wall and you just want to hug it, just make sure the ballast is like finished firing.
Yeah, so I'm listening for the 3 shots right now, that's why I'm sort of like waiting around on the side, because I want to wait until that 3rd shot comes close and then I'm going to run, because that gives me the biggest window to
Start running when you hear the 3rd shot has been fired, not when it's hit.
Yeah,
so
run before it hits. Don't run too early though, because it still tracks like a motherfucker and it might curve around and hit you in the end. So right now I'm dodging lightning from the giant rock worm thing, which doesn't even make sense if it's a ground type Pokemon. How can it use thunder attacks? Onyx can't use Thunder Strike, or whatever it's Thunderbolt.
There's plenty of rock types that know a thunder move. Anyway, you just want to stand behind
your Pokemon. Not my Pokemon.
Anyway.
So yeah, we just stand behind this rock and wait a little while and the ballista will pick it down bit by bit. And for this we're going to get the Undead Bone Shard and we're going to get something else. I think we got a miracle, don't we? I think it's like one of the, I think it's the Lightning Stake Miracle or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. So now that you've waited for that to die, yeah, you get the Lightning Stake Miracle. And then Undead Bone Shard, so that's totally worth it. Now, running up here, up to our right, is going to take us inside Demon Ruins.
Yeah.
So that's the boss, but we don't want to go there yet because we've still got all of this place to fucking explore.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting the boss is actually like right there in the beginning. And basically, all this area leads to is items and turning the ballista off.
Yeah.
But there's actually quite a lot of good shit in here, so it's worth coming in.
Now, we didn't summon Nightslayer Saurid, you'll see his sign right here. We didn't summon him for this section. But you could, because you do have to fight Nightslayer Saurid later on in this area, and you can technically make him fight himself, which is pretty funny. Some sort of like internal dispute going on.
Aye.
Like, arguing with himself in the mirror.
He's actually a fairly good summon against the boss, but in terms of this particular area, there's so much toxic and poison flowing about in certain areas, it may not be worth bringing him. However, I mean, if he doesn't get toxic, he will fuck shit up. So
yeah. So I'm putting throwing knives on because throwing knives let me just bait enemies over from a relatively safe distance one at a time.
Interestingly, the throw knives actually made it completely unnecessary. He never got toxic once from just using the throw knives to bait out enemies. Yeah. So I mean, it's good to have both just as a backup, but you can avoid being toxic just by playing savvy, really.
These rat things have an attack, by the way, where they will like they will horizontally, they'll slowly move their palm horizontally and they'll cast like that attack right there. If you get caught in front of that, it is probably going to kill you. It does an immense amount of damage very quickly, so even like I had it set up with the flame stone plate ring on as well in the preliminary, and that thing killed me 3 times in a row with the same fucking attack. Yeah. Just because I just got caught by the edge of the hitbox and it just eradicates your health. So moving around here, this is where there's like a big tribe of Groos, so we're going to pull them out one at a time, carefully angling around the corners. I mean, what else are you going to call them?
School. Gaggle.
A gaggle of Grues.
Should have been the obvious one.
Yeah, it should have been the obvious one. Damn.
It's the go-to collective noun, for fuck's sake.
Sure. Because everybody knows what a gaggle is.
They should do.
I mean, anyone who's familiar with geese knows what a gaggle is, so I can imagine that would be a very common thing to know. So this is the problem one right here. This one spits toxic mist and it has a dagger that inflicts poison as well, so they'll try and like double status you, so that's where Caressing Prayer would come in handy.
Yeah.
This guy's pretty adamant on like turning demon runes into fucking Snoop Dogg's bedroom.
Interestingly enough, like they can toxic you surprisingly quickly.
Yeah, it builds up fast.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you stock toxic resistance as well, but I think we would rather just have the physical resistance and having Caressing Tears. So.
Caressing Tears is pretty quick, so there is like literally no disadvantage to using it.
So what you might want to do here is, instead of baiting this guy out, because there's a guy on the left here which kind of just jumps over.
Not gonna lie, I got a little bit too invested in the throwing knife part, and now I'm deflecting off walls again because this game fucking hates me.
You just love deflecting off them.
So I'm buffing because I have an insane amount of fear over these guys because they do ridiculous damage, and now I'm just gonna get stun locked by their fucking drop kicks.
So we should explain what all the Grues drop. So these ones are
slightly different in that they're Smouldering Grues.
So it's the Smouldering Grue Mad, when they just can drop Titanite Shards, large Titanite Shards, Fire Gems. They can all drop Titanite and large Titanite. Smouldering Grue Conjurator, so the ones that spit the mist. There's Rotten Grue Daggers, Titanite Shards, large Titanite Shard, Fire Gem again. Just the normal Smouldering Grues, so the ones that are kind of like the mad ones but have a weapon. Rotten Grue Curved Sword or Rotten Grue Spear. Rotten Grue Rot Shield. Oh no, Grue Rot Shield. Titanite Shard, large Titanite Shard. So they drop their equipment. Now you want to come around here and get an extra Ember.
What do the rat things drop with the fireball belly?
I have no idea what the fuck they're even called.
They're the clerics.
Oh, Demon Cleric. They can drop Chaos Gems, Titanite Shards, large Titanite Shard.
Yeah.
So
over here is an Ember. We thought there was a fire gem over here. That's why we came back to look. It turns out the fire gem just dropped off of that little slime.
Yeah, in the preliminary.
Yeah. So no, it's just an Ember that's there. And then moving along to grab this. Not these items. Sorry, these are ragdolls. We should actually stress that once again, guys. We are not picking up items that drop from enemies in the game unless they are guaranteed drops, because we only want to work with things that you will definitely have.
Okay, so those stairs that we just came down, just run straight to this door. Now, what this door is this door is pretty much just a dead end, but it leads to items. This is the item door, essentially, and just look at it that way. This does not lead to any progress to the ballista. This door is items only. Yeah. So that's kind of how I differentiate the two areas, and basically they're just straight lines, but they look a lot more complicated than it is. But once you split the two doors up and realise that there is actually only two ways to go, it kind of makes this whole area much more manageable in your head. At least for me anyway. Now in this room, in New Game +2, the Flamestone Plate Ring will be in the corner.
Yeah. And we just got a Black Knight. Was it the Great Sword that we got?
Yeah. So going down here, again, it's just a single corridor. This leads to just rooms, more corridors, etc. And this is the area that the hole in the floor will ultimately lead to.
Yeah. So really the only part you skip out is that initial little pack of Grues, the gaggle of Grues, sorry, and that first Demon Cleric is really the only thing you skip out when you drop down from the ceiling, because you still have to come through this way to get through the other door so that you can actually go down the progress route.
Yeah.
Really that hole in the floor up in the Smouldering Lake is just a quicker way into the item locations. And this side of Demon Ruins anyway.
Yeah, I mean, all you end up missing out on is like 2 embers, sure, but like if you want the bonfire at the beginning of the Demon Ruins, you need to go through that area regardless. Yeah. So,
and you do want that bonfire because it's very close to the Demon King. So,
yeah, exactly. So there's literally no point. So those ones are the Grue Conjurators, and the one that you just killed there would have been just like your normal Grue, and that's the ones that can drop. Basically, if it has its weapon, it can drop the weapon.
So I'm going to sprint through this fog, and you'll see how quickly it builds up. That's me almost toxic because I stood in the fog for like 3 seconds.
Now those little stone statues apparently don't drop anything, so that's interesting.
Didn't they drop stuff in Dark Souls 1?
I have no idea.
I can't remember exactly, but I feel like they might have. So stand on the left side of the... any item you pick up in Demon Ruins that's against the wall, stand on the left side just in case a blob drops from the ceiling. They're typically above and to the right of the items, so... It's just a good way of not getting like those weird blobs like landing on your head. And this was just to show you the room we just came from, by the way. Yeah. So that you guys sort of recognise the layout. And this is the bonfire here, which is very close to the lake shortcut.
Yeah. So there's another invisible wall here, but again, they all just lead to dead ends. So, you know, if something leads to a dead end, doesn't kind of look back to another area, it's much easier to just kind of map it out in your head, you know? Because you just go to that one dead end.
That's the attack I was talking about, by the way, the one that will almost definitely one-shot you. They do like an overhand machete swing, and then they follow it up with like that horizontal slow palm wave where they just flamethrow the shit out of you. And these guys, by the way, are the ones that spawn those little fire orbs, but if you kill them, then the orbs will die, so try and kill them as quickly as possible. So moving along here, opposite corner of the bonfire.
What do you mean?
The bonfire is in the opposite corner of that room. So, it's the shard, and now we're just going to run back the way because these things don't do an effective job of blocking the path.
Now, do your best to not fall down the holes in the floor, really.
If you fall down that hole in the floor, I think it leads you to a lava pit.
No, I think it's... I actually don't even know where it leads to, which is really shocking for the guide, but just don't fucking fall down.
You can't make that jump anyway. I think it probably leads
you can't make that jump.
Or something. I don't know.
Or if you can make that jump, it's... So, yeah, there's the hole in the floor, so it leads to this area. Now, this is just another dead-end corridor that just leads to the...
A crystal lizard.
Yeah, so this path overall is the right path from that bonfire.
So, once again with crystal lizard guys, hit them with a jump attack, and they will flip onto their backs, and they can't disappear or run away from you. Make them completely subservient.
Pro tips.
Only the best.
So now, taking the path that is straight from the bonfire, you just go straight ahead, and this will lead to the Carthus Pyromancy... No, the Islith Pyromancy Tome.
Yeah. So a couple of grooves in here, this one's sleeping on the job. Manages to pull his shield up and then just like refuse to die for the longest time.
I know.
I think this one does poison me actually.
No, it doesn't. Well, it might, but I think really when it comes down to it, like, if you have Caress and Tears or whatever, you might as well just fucking go for a hook. Like, you were pure, like, shit scared of this mist for some reason.
It wasn't that, it was that I'm just trying to get away from both of them at the same time, because I can't fucking see anything in that mist, and the camera is just clearly working to kill me at this point.
Nah, you just need to get good.
I'm deflecting off of walls while I'm trying to fight the thing. The game is actively trying to kill me, Tony.
If you were good, you'd have two-handed and used
No. It's like the trash compactor scene in Star Wars. The walls are just coming in. The game's making my spaces smaller, more confined. It's invading my safe space.
Okay, so you've got the Islith Pyromancy Tome, and that's all the items on this particular door. So that that door, which would be the left-hand door, kinda from the stairs. Yeah, this is as far as this area goes. So what we're going to do is
run back.
Yeah, run back to the Black Knight room, and from there you kind of get your bearings and see what it is we're going to do. So that path to the right there was that thing that was like the ember at the end of the corridor. Coming back here, this is getting to the room, obviously. And
straight through here, the Black Knight room should be on our left as we go through this corridor.
Yeah. So as you can see, this was just all items and dead ends.
Yep, and that's the Black Knight room right there. Once again, guys, Flamestone Plate Ring +2, New Game ++.
So what you want to do is just run straight ahead to the end of this room from the Black Knight room, and this leads to a bone shard.
Yeah. Just a quick behind the scenes director's commentary thing there. The reason why I chucked a knife at that, I wanted to see if it could like kill it in one knife, because then we'd have been like, we are the most like
the proest.
Yeah. We are the best. So that's an undead bone shard, so that's totally worth it. Now we're going to run back, and we're going to take the door at the end that is on the right.
Considering how much damage the knife done, it may be possible if you have a bow, you could probably maybe...
You can two-shot them?
Yeah, like if you can probably maybe do that. So, from the stairs, you saw that we ran to the left-hand door, and that was just the dead end and items. So here we're coming to the right-hand door, or rather, right of the door that we were in, and this will lead to the ballista. So you can pretty much ignore that left-hand door and just come straight here, but obviously we're going to show the items first.
Yep, so a few rats here. There's a big rat near here somewhere, but this leads us to the Quailana Pyromancy Tome.
Yeah.
This is one that you will have to give to Carla. because what's his name won't take it, Cornix.
Yeah.
He refuses to take it because only
He's
a
a
woman
little
can
bitch.
teach them. Yeah, yeah. He's not comfortable straying outside of his cisgender role. I want to practice feminine things. No, I'm a man.
So, down those stairs, we are going to come back there later. It is a massive pain in the ass to get those items, but we will show you a quote-unquote effective way of doing it.
I mean, it's about the only way to do it.
Yeah. So the rest of that corridor just leads round to the other corridor. There's nothing there. Yeah, so you could go left, but there's another invisible wall. There's like 3 or 4 invisible walls in this entire area.
There's actually like an almost Great Hollow sort of throwback because there's a wall behind a wall here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was getting from it. Now these rats can drop
Nothing important.
souls, little souls. That's all they can drop.
So break the wall, open the chest, get your large shards, break the wall behind this, drop down and grab the Izalith Catalyst. And now we're into Basilisk country, so now you need to try and not get cussed.
Oh, so the basilisks can drop moss fruit like the other basilisks in the swamp.
Yeah, they're pretty much the exact same enemies. The only thing I think that's different is they've got a little bit more HP.
Maybe.
Because I was 2-shotting the ones in the swamp. These ones are taking like 3 hits. Thicker hide.
So, right, this meter that they're building up here is the curse meter. Now, I might have mentioned this on the Farron, but you do not want to get this meter full, because if it does, you're going to just instantly die.
Yeah.
So
And that was a 10-8 skill.
that's all the items for this particular area. The stairs that you saw to the left of those rats just leads you back down here as well, so don't worry.
Yeah, so now moving on, we're going to come up against Night Slayer Sorig. Now, I don't have enough Estus to... I don't feel like I have enough Estus to reliably win this fight easily. So I'm going to go back to the bonfire, refill my Estus, and then I'm just going to run straight here.
Yeah.
So we're just going to cut that out, of course, because that would be...
Nah, sped it up, just so people can kind of just see you running past everything kind of thing.
Alright, okay.
But, I mean, basically, Sorig is ridiculous.
He's probably the hardest single enemy in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
In
he's
terms of
arguably
just-
harder than like 50% of the bosses, and I'm not even kidding.
I think he's harder than 100% of the bosses.
He's not fucking harder than the Nameless King, shop.
Yes, he is. Nameless King's only difficult because he's got that fucking Estus sponge at the start, the dragon. I'm just here to waste your Estus and nothing else. Hello!
Fucking waste his Estus 2016.
I mean, that's what it is.
Right, so some tips for fighting this guy. You could maybe attempt to kick him into the lava, but it's not really going to do a whole lot. A big tip is, as soon as he starts to do an attack, stay the fuck away from him.
Yeah, just keep your distance and get some hits in between his attacks if you can, if you're using a quick weapon like a longsword. If you're using a heavy weapon like a greatsword, try and time your fully charged heavy attacks to like connect, because you don't want to take a hit from him because he's 3-shotting us at this rate.
He's also, right, I want, if someone can
Impossible
confirm
to
this.
backstab.
Yeah, right. Can anybody else confirm this? Because I'm pretty sure you have backstabbed him before, but I have tried so hard to fish for a backstab, and I just can't do it.
Tough. So now I'm trying to like bait him over towards the lava somehow, but I'm having trouble working out how I'm going to get in there to kick him towards something when anytime I go near him he swings this fucking building at me.
Now, another thing is, I've noticed that when you two-handed your sword, it did stagger him a lot easier than when you were one-handing it. At least that's what it seemed like. If he does the stomp, just
Back
get
away.
out there.
Run
get
away.
the fuck out there.
When he does the stomp, he takes far less damage and he will probably slam down and take off 2/3 of your health, 3/4 of your health. He might even one-shot you if you've not invested as heavily in health and in defense as we have. So
yeah. If you're a mage, you might have an easier
I
time.
feel like I might have got that backstab if I wasn't on the stairs,
Possibly, but it's
because
still...
he took his time turning.
But
So
yeah,
as you can see here, I'm just getting like quick little R1s in between his, like, when his weapon goes into recovery, I'm just going to sneak in, get a hit in, and then run away.
Yeah.
And just keep picking away at him like that.
when
Because
fighting
for
this
whatever
guy,
reason he won't heal.
when fighting this guy, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, it truly is.
Somehow you didn't take damage from that. I don't.
It's
understand.
because I'm just out of the range of the weapon, so there's a little shockwave thing. Halberds have it as well, so you can stagger people with a Black Knight glaive in PvP if you just miss them, because you still hit them with a little shockwave.
But he will drop his sword and shield, so that's kind of cool.
We've had the Fugs before, the Fume Knight Ultra Greatsword, you guys remember from Dark Souls 2. It's almost exactly the same, except the sword art is now what the two-handed L2 is. or rather the two-handed L2 in Dark Souls 2 is now the weapon Sword Art. It starts with a stomp where you get increased defenses, and then if you press R2 you slam the weapon like flat side down and pancake people.
So we're running past this bridge to fight this guy here, that way there's no chance that you're going to launch yourself off it like a fucking idiot.
The best warriors pick the best battlefields.
Somebody probably said that.
It's probably Sun Tzu. Whenever anybody says anything about war, it's him. He's like monopolised it. Sun Tzu, the fucking war philosophy monopoly. I'm now criticising
Turned
someone.
war into an art.
I mean, if apparently the actual book, The Art of War, is literally just instructions on how to war. Like, it is just blunt, like, there's nothing poetic or anything about it, he just tells you how to war. And I find that amazing, and I really want to read it just to see how, like, how upfront he is. Like, oh yeah, if the enemy are low on supplies, make sure you fuck them extra hard that week.
Just set them on fire, fuck it. If you don't need them, just set them on fire.
What you do is you send in a small group of about 10 men with some poison, and you poison the water supply, and you put dead animals in the water supply so that they have nothing to drink, and then you starve them out.
So anyway, right, we're going up that ladder, and then you jump down a little bit to get the Dragon Rider bow,
yep.
and then you go back up ladder.
Yep. Just typical Dark Souls stuff. Time to do the same thing twice because we told you to. I don't think there's any new enemies we're going to run into here. There is actually, well, there are the Carthus dudes.
Yeah, which apparently are not listed here.
It's probably because they're the exact same as the ones that are in Catacombs of Carthus. They'll drop their weapon, and they'll drop cookery as well. Because it's the ones that have the Carthus shuttle, yeah.
So chances are, like,
they will drop the same thing. They will drop the Carthus shuttle and they will drop cookery.
Oh, by the way, that Black Knight can drop the Black Knight Great Sword and the Black Knight Great Axe. Chances are it'll drop the Great Axe because it's holding it. Now, those Bone Wheel skeletons there, and they can drop the Bone Wheel shield or large Titanite shards. Just
but you literally do not have to interact with them, so...
No, you don't. But, again, those the skeletons will just drop, like, general skeleton stuff. Probably the Falchion or Scimitar.
I think it's a Falchion.
But the Black Knight will probably drop the Great Axe as the Great Axe one. I don't know if they can drop the other weapons, but I don't think they can. But can drop any bits of the Black Knight set, as well as an Ember. You can drop Embers. So.
Yeah. So these two guys are standing relatively close, so I want to like back off, get my throwing knives on, and I want to lock onto one of them while the other one's not too close, so I can bait them over one at a time. I am not the biggest fan of these enemies because they're just really fucking annoying. You try to hit them and they're like 20 feet away suddenly, defying physics and leaping in a circular motion somehow. But
I'll check the Carthus enemy guys. So these are just Carthus. These are either Grave Warden skeletons or skeleton swordsmen. I'm not sure what ones they'd be, or yeah, that's just what it is. But they can just drop the Carthus shuttle and parts of the Carthus. Oh no, just Titanite shards, large Titanite shards, sharp gem, vertical shackle, Carthus rogue ember, or Carthus rouge instead.
These ones drop cookery as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, they might actually.
I really despise these guys because they just never make it an easy task. They need to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's like trying to cut like pressure in the air with a knife.
Oh, they can bleed you as well.
Oh yeah, I almost died because of that fucking bullshit. I really don't like these enemies. It's not that they're bad, I just have a strong dislike for them.
It's just that you're not good.
I hate them on a personal level. Oh yeah, New Game Plus, Bloodbite plus One Ring will be up here by the way.
Yeah, under the ballista. At least according to the map anyway, but in this close generally.
I mean, we are using the Prima guide as the map, and it was wrong about the ring down in Siegward's area and Undead Settlement, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt, as we do. Throw in some shade. So,
you can jump down here and this will lead you back to the lake. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there's some crabs in the lake. Now, the big crabs can drop just large Titanite shards or normal Titanite shards. However, the lesser crabs, interestingly, can drop Bloomin' Purple Moss Clump and Rime Blue Moss Clump. So, if you can't use Caressing Tears and you just need some more Bloomin' Moss because you only can get 4 currently, then maybe you can farm them off the little crabs.
Yeah. Oh, and that cave there, that is where we're going next. We're just going to refill our Estus because now we're going to go fight Hodrick. Not Hodrick, Horus. God damn it.
So this is like the end of like Horus's quest, kind of, now. And we can do like a bunch of stuff considering what you do at this point, but obviously we're doing it because you get items and shit, so...
We find this is probably the best way to go about it for getting as many items as possible.
Yeah, because basically, like, there's
you get the same amount of items if you do it, like, up until this point you'd get the same amount of items anyway doing Anri's side, but Uria's side has a little bit extra to it.
Yeah.
So we're going to take that side over.
Because you get all of Anri's side stuff from doing Uria's side of the quest, because the quests are intertwined, and you can just ignore Uria's side. I suppose you can ignore both, but if you do Uria's side, you get all of Anri's stuff also, so you may as well do Uria.
So the Crystal Lizard coming up, this one coming up here, further through the cave system, this one's very important. This one drops the Titanite chunk.
Yeah. So you should actually...
I'm pretty sure we didn't... That was the one that got away from us in the fucking... The preliminary, like, phase through a wall and I couldn't get the item.
We must have got the chunk though, surely.
I don't think we did. I think we just went on without it. So that's us get two. That's us get one chunk in our inventory, which now means we have more than enough reason to go back to Pickle Pea and Pump Around and get our weapon to +7 by dropping a black firebomb.
Yeah, now we're going to do that before this boss for a few reasons. Yeah. But anyway... so yeah, we're taking care of Horus.
He's relatively simple, guys. Just keep the pressure on him. You can break his guard pretty quickly because he's only using a Llewellyn shield. And yeah, there you go. I was going to say something. If you don't have any black firebombs, you can buy them off of patches.
Now, from what I am aware, you can now buy Horus's set now that you've killed him.
Yeah, you can. So this item here, like, we had to hop up on the ledge a little bit because it wasn't letting us get it. So. But it's just a soul packet, isn't it?
You can also probably buy Sorig's set now that you've killed him as well. Let me just
you can buy the Black Iron set now.
Yeah.
You can.
Just going to just make sure.
If you kill an NPC, just assume that you can buy their armor set from the Shrine Handmaiden. Especially if that NPC isn't tinted. Then just assume that you can get their stuff. It's the Black Iron set.
Yeah. Where the fuck is...
Oh, moving on anyway, so now we've turned off the ballista, guys, we can go collect these items that are littered around through the actual lake. Now, there are a bunch of large shards here, so we definitely want to pick all of them up. By the time you finish this area, you'll be swimming in large shards. I think by the time we got our restores up to +7, we still had 14 or 15 spare, so this was a pretty good haul, anyway.
It was.
I'm trying to think. There's one more item outside of these items that are just scattered near here. That was the shield I want, by the way. A little nod to Dark Souls 2. There is one item that is way back over at the crabs, and you don't need to aggro the crabs. So we're just gonna run over, get it, and then we're just gonna homeward bone immediately because we don't want to deal with that shit. Jaffiel. Have you found it yet?
No. It's really irritating me. Oh, this is only the ashes stuff that it's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. But yeah, I'm pretty sure his armor set will be there.
Yeah.
But anyway, right, so we're just doing the item run on the lake now because obviously we can and we can do it uninterrupted.
Yep, so we're going to hug this left side wall and we're just going to keep going up until we get to all the crabs. Now, I wait a little bit just to see if the crabs are going to move into a more favourable position, but in the end I decide to just run for it anyway because...
Wait, have we already picked up those...
Yeah, we picked up all those items while you were looking for the Black Iron set.
Fuck's sake, I was doing it for that long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was 5 large Titanite shard, and the shield of WONT, so it's pretty good.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
So, again, you know, I've told you what these crabs drop, but...
I was waiting for them to move into like a position where I could run without having to worry about aggroing them, but I just decided to go, fuck it, I can probably outrun them anyway. I do have Homeward Bones attached to my hotkey bar in my pause menu, so I know exactly where they are, so I'm pretty confident in getting those out before the crab would get close if I did aggro any, but luckily I didn't. So now we're going back to the shrine because we've got a bunch of things to turn in.
Oh yeah, there's lots of
Undead Bone Shards times 2, an Estus Shard, we have a Pyromancy Tome to turn in, and we have a spell to buy actually because we need to get ourselves that Flash Sweat.
Oh yeah, those items.
Yep. So
there's also an Estus Shard.
Yes, there is also an Estus Shard.
And we're also going to upgrade our weapon.
2+7, yes. Once again, guys, if you don't have a black firebomb, go ahead and buy one from patches.
Yeah.
So, given Cornix the Pyromancy Tomes, he will not take the Izalith Tome, and he will not take the... No, he will not take the Grave Warden Pyromancy Tome, and he will not take the Quelana Pyromancy Tome, but the Izalith one he will take. And now you can buy, now you want to buy Flash Sweat, because you're going to need it to get those items that are on the lava section in Demon Ruins, down where the was it the Quailana Pyromancy Tome?
Yeah.
Yeah, down where the Quailana Pyromancy Tome was, and down where Knight's Lair Torig was. One of the items that's there is Sacred Flame, and the other one is that white hair talisman thing.
Yeah, I think Toxic Mist is there as well, and then the fourth item is just a soul packet.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely worth getting. Like if you're doing a pyromancy type build, then like Smouldering Lake is like
So
not optional.
we've had a couple of invaders throughout this playthrough because we're playing online to guarantee all the NPC summons. So if you guys are being invaded, make sure every time you walk past that tree, check to see if you've had a Cedar Tree of Giants spawn, because it's like a 50-50 chance that you get one after you beat an invader.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a 50-50 chance after you encounter an invader, period, as far as I'm aware.
Well, I mean, it's always 50-50. Everything's 50-50.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, every 2 invaders typically nets you 1. That is the ratio. It's not, I don't mean 50-50 as in yes or no. I mean 50-50 as in you have a 50% chance.
I mean, it's 50-50 whether you die or not today. You either die or you don't.
Yes, I guess in the broadest of brushstrokes you could say that.
So now we've got our
second Titanite chunk from dropping the Black Firebomb.
this Astora's sword is getting fucking upgraded.
Yeah, we've got a +7 Astora's sword before Pontiff.
Do you know what that means? It means you're going to be wrecking us. That's what it means. It means DPS, brah.
Yeah. You're not gonna have much of a problem with any of this game from this point onwards, really. At least not until you hit Nameless King. I think that's when I started having difficulty again, running at the Grand Archives, because that section just bullet hell basically. Grand Archives and maybe Nameless King, they might give you a bit of trouble, but for the rest of the game, this build you should skate through the game no problem.
Now we also got some gold pine resin.
Yes, because the boss is weak to lightning. So we're going to stack that on with our defences, and we're going to go ham and beat the shit out of them.
So before that, we are going to get those items. Now at this point, we're going to attune our Flash Sweat, which is necessary because it lowers fire damage, or increases fire absorption, whatever.
So the best setup you can use right now then would be Flash Sweat. You want to use those, is it Red Leech Torches or...
No, it's Red Bug Pellet.
Red Bug Pellet. Red Leech Torches with Dark Souls 2 for bleed.
Yeah.
But Red Bug Pellet, Flash Sweat, Flame Stone Plate Ring, and you can also equip the Speckled Stone Plate Ring as well to slightly increase your fire defense, and stack all your armor for fire as well.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to run across this lava while drinking Estus, picking up items, running and drinking Estus at the same time again to make it across. The one next to the Pyromancy Tome took literally all of my Estus to make it because I got hit by a couple of like lava blobs that are impossible to see in that fucking thing. They're literally under the
texture.
Some of them are under the lava texture, so you can't see them. And the other one with Torig, near Torig, was like I had 2 Estus left maybe. But it's quite a heavy run when it comes to how quickly it drains your HP.
Yeah, so it's I mean, this is pretty much it. So I'm just going to stop this part here.
Okay, so we just cut out a bunch of this because we just told you the setup, so you guys don't need to see us equipping it and sorting through our armor to figure out our highest fire resistance. Yes, we look fucking awful, we know. Call the fashion police, I dare you.
So right, we're just going to show you the quick,
the sped up route there.
Yeah, and then this will take you to here. So basically, what you want to do is you've got the Dragon Crest shield. Now, if you run into the lava whilst blocking, that will take a considerable amount of damage. At least for some reason there it didn't. The one at Torig, it works every time. I accidentally took a fucking red bug pellet when I tried to Estus there, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm going to die in Demon Ruins for the first time. Now, what you could have done, actually, is if you ran in whilst blocking and then ran around to the right and all the way up to the back, you'll take barely any damage until you stop blocking. But if you block while you're in the lava, it will not continue to do the big damage reduction. So you have to be blocking while you run onto it for whatever fucking reason.
Yep, so now we're going to run the other route, and this time we're going to take the right path and go down to Knight's Lair Torig, and same setup as last time. Put on your red bug pellet, put on your Flash Sweat, have your rings on, and then just go for it. This one here, if you run on this side, you'll see that, look at the difference in HP damage we take. We take practically none. Look at that, 0 until a certain point, and then we take more damage.
Well, it's because you picked up the item and then it drops your block. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually pick up an item while I was blocking. It might just be a reaction.
You can. But as far as I'm aware as well, after like 5 seconds, it stops blocking with your shield anyway, because your shield just takes too much damage and stops blocking it. So
Well, I'm not.
it done it to me in the test run. That's why I'm saying that.
You might just be gay. I don't know. Anyway, right. So
how would my sexual orientation make my point any less valid, Tony?
right, we're now back at the Demon Ruins bonfire. Right now, to do Cornix's quest, you must summon this NPC and beat the boss. Cuculus, amazingly, right? Summon Cuculus and beat the boss with Cuculus alive. Now, this is going to be quite hard if you don't have our exact setup, because we're doing so much damage. So what we suggest is, if you can't do this, and you can do it as many times as you want until it works. So if you can't do it, just go away and come back when you're a lot more powerful and you can actually do it.
Yeah. What you want to do as well, by the way, is you want to debuff a lot quicker than we did. You want to try and get in there as Cuculus is spawning to give you as much time with the boss 1v1 without Cuculus there, to reduce the chances of Cuculus dying. And I just want to say that the name Cuculus is fucking ridiculous.
Now,
how did that make it through like the VR process for the Western world?
Now, what you just want to be super ham on the boss. You like with our particular setup, you really shouldn't have that much problem really if you're just gone nuts.
Yeah,
and
you don't
again,
take that much damage.
You want to go nuts because you cannot let Cuculus take any amount of damage. It's really a completely useless NPC. Soaring is actually quite good, but Cuculus is not.
We should mention at this point as well, by the way, we put our normal armor set back on, 3 pieces of night set with the northern helmet, because we're keeping the flame stone plate ring on and the speckled stone plate ring on. That's going to be our fire mitigation on top of our already, and on top of the mitigation we already have from the armor.
Yeah.
But we're putting our normal armor on because the boss still does quite a good bit of physical damage, and we want to try and mitigate as much damage as possible. So we're going to go and do what the game does, and we're going to pile on both defenses to make split damage useless.
Now, we're sorry we don't have much of a strategy for this particular boss. I suppose really just stacking fire defense really does do a surprising amount of that, like, help. So you can obviously take a red bug pellet.
I think honestly your best way around this boss would probably be to stack fire defense and use like a ring of steel protection to offset the physical defense that you've lost, and then that way you're cutting down a good portion of his damage, because a lot of his damage comes in the form of AoEs or ranged fire attacks. So those are the ones you kind of got to look out for. Now that we've done that and Cuculus survived, we're going to go to the Undead Settlement and we're going to go pick up Cornix's set.
Now I might splice in some preliminary footage where you may have shown off its moveset a little bit more, but so there won't be any...
You can just put that in at the end of this, I guess. You could put that in while we're doing our outro.
Yeah. So, right, so once you've done that and the NPC has lived, you can come up here and basically you get Cornix's set and the spotted whip.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much it, and everything to do with...
Oddly enough, I bet Cornix's set would have came in handy against that boss with a fire resistance it will have, because it's a pyro set.
I bet it doesn't even have that much. It might.
I think it probably it's likely to have the highest in the game among the cloth armors, probably, since it's like a pyromancer set.
If it does have higher fire resist than anything else that we've got, then you might want to do this first before getting those items. But that is it for this part.
Yeah. That's us, guys. So hopefully at this point you're probably seeing some more footage of the boss. You could pull it from the Let's Play, because we've got some pretty good footage from
the
Let's
possibly.
Play. That'd be good.
Yeah.
So if the build is different, it's because you're seeing Let's Play footage, and that's just to show you the boss's moveset a little.
I might put more commentary into it, just as stuff to watch out for.
Whatever. But yeah, that about does it for Demon Ruins and Smouldering Lake, guys. Relatively quick, hopefully, and hopefully you guys didn't have too much trouble with that one as well. It is a kind of annoying area, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this area is complete cancer, but genuinely, I think our strategies, tips, just, kind of...
I think I died like 5 times during the prelim for this area, and I was so frustrated by the end of it that I wanted to uninstall.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, that run there was actually pretty smooth.
Yeah, it was fucking almost flawless.
When I done it, I was fucking tearing my hair out. I was fucking hated every fucking second of it.
To be fair, I did that with Fire and Keep. In the preliminary it went okay, and then in the actual guide run I got fucked because of Hazel and the big giant grew and the wee grew and the basilisks. Dante's Inferno.
I know.
Let's go through the 7 stages of hell. Anyway, that's it for us, guys, so we'll see you in the next one.
Which will be a riffle.
Yep.
Bye.